I used to think my nanny was just someone doing her job. Someone I paid. Someone replaceable. Until one day, everything changed. Have you ever overlooked someone who quietly shaped your life? Someone who poured out love without ever asking for anything in return? We lived in a small farming town where unemployment gripped everything like a fog. Jobs came and went with the harvest season. But my nanny, Lena, she stayed. Through thick and thin. She showed up like sunrise. Always early, always present. She raised my 2 children more than I care to admit. Packing lunches, nursing colds with herbal teas and home remedies. Helping with homework, even though English wasn't her first language. She stayed late without complaint. Teaching my kids funny songs from her culture. They adored her. They really did. But me? I was blind. I had a 9-to-5 job that felt more like a 6-to-10. Every ounce of frustration I carried from work, I dumped on Lena. Dust on the windowsill? I called her lazy. Groceries forgotten? I lectured her about responsibility. I even created a long to-do list, not to organize, but to control her time. To make sure she had no minute to herself. I paid her late. Not once. Not twice. But often. As punishment when I thought she fell short. I knew she had no choice. I paid more than others. She had to stay. I used her struggles against her. She never answered back. Just kept showing up. Caring. Quietly. Then, one day, she was gone. No goodbye. No warning, just a single message: "I'm sorry, my mother-in-law is unwell. I have to go. I can't come back." I was furious. How could she choose her family over mine? How could she just leave? Then, I found out. Lena had been ill. For over 2 years. She'd been silently working through sickness, through exhaustion. Her husband, abusive, gambling, violent. She was the sole breadwinner for him, his disabled parents, and her 3 children. She never told me. I never asked. I had never even wished her a happy birthday. I never asked how she was doing. Yet she often told me to rest. She told me to slow down, to take care of myself. She saw through my angry outbursts. She saw I was drowning emotionally. And still, she held space for me. But I never held space for her. She was family. And I didn't treat her like one. After Lena left, the silence in my home was deafening. The kids cried for her. Meals went uncooked, the house fell apart. So did I. I took a long leave from work. I couldn't function. I couldn't replace her. Because she wasn't just help. She was the glue. The invisible hands holding it all together. Each day, I'd collapse into bed and think, how did she do this? And slowly, the fog lifted. I started noticing the quiet forms of love. The folded clothes. The notes in my kids' lunchboxes. The herbs she'd tuck into tea when she sensed I was tense. She was always caring for me, even when I couldn't see it. I had been privileged. Emotionally immature. Entitled. And it took her absence to wake me up. I wanted to call her. To say thank you. To apologize. To ask her how she was. But I waited too long. She passed away before I could speak to her again. Complications from an untreated illness. I was still scheduling the right time to make amends. Her children buried her with borrowed money. No flowers. No ceremony. Just a quiet goodbye. I didn't know how to carry the weight of my guilt. But I knew I had to honor her somehow. So I started volunteering at an abandoned kids' shelter. It was there I learned patience. And the kind of love that expects nothing back. I started keeping a gratitude journal. Every night, I'd write down one person I was grateful for, and why. I embraced mindfulness. And slowly, I changed. Now, I ask my new helper how she's doing. I pay her on time. I throw her a small birthday lunch. I sit and talk with my friends over tea. I visit my parents more. I laugh more. And the anger? It's gone. Replaced with something softer. More human. I finally understand, gratitude isn't in what we say. It's in how we treat others. I will never mistreat my nanny again, not in memory, not in heart. She gave more than she ever took, and now, she lives on in how I choose to treat others. Who in your life deserves more than a thank you? Tell them today.